Someday they will.
Welcome, everyone. Okay.
Few announcements from the library. I'm Alice Cooper. I'm the director of the Lancaster Community Library, and welcome everyone to this really interesting program. Before we get into Harold's program tonight, I have a few announcements. So this is our third season of the Special Evening With series, and so we're really happy that Harold is here tonight. Next week, we're going to have Margaret Forrester and Karen Hart from the Lancaster, Virginia Historical Society, and they're going to talk about indentured servants in colonial Lancaster County. Margaret is quite a researcher up there, and she is in the process of writing a book on the records that she found. I should mention also, if you like Sherlock Holmes, we're really excited. On July 11th, we're going to have a special evening with Sherlock Holmes. It's an all-ages event that starts at 5 o'clock, and one of our intrepid volunteers has volunteered to be the man, so it should be really fun. Saturday here is busy day. We have two events. We'll start out on Saturday at 1 o'clock with a journey of ancestral music and exploration of the African ox flute. It's a pretty interesting and fascinating program, I think, and if you'd like to see more of the items for the presentation, there's a little display case across from our circulation desk, and there's a really beautiful, colorful display there for that.
Downstairs?
Pardon?
Downstairs?
Downstairs. And also on Saturday at 3 o'clock is our reception for Catherine Murray. Catherine is our artist for the month of June. There's an art exhibition monthly across from the restaurants, and so you're invited to come to that as well. All right, so Harold, I've known him a few years, not as long as many of you. I've heard some stories. Harold and I ended up in a creative writing class at RCC with Sally Honenberger. And at that time, he was working on this book, and he would read selections that he was working on at that time. So I'm really excited to know that he has published his book. It's awesome. And so without further ado, Harold,
Thank you, Alice. I'll just have to start. One of the main reasons why I wrote this book is because I lost my wife in August of 2018, and I had to write the book, and then we lost our son in 2012. So I wanted to make sure that they are remembered, and I feel like writing this book, they will be remembered. I'd like to thank Alice for this, and also the Lancaster County Historical Society for putting this on. I'm going to start with where did the Hinsons come from. The first recorded Hinson was Joseph Hinson, and that was in 1652 in Stratford County. I've got a cousin, William Bryant, who published in 2023 the Richmond County Ancestry, volumes 1 and 2. It's a Packet, Clark, Hinson, and Hall family history. Billy states in the beginning of this book, its writing gave me a renewed respect for our grandparents and their family. My hope is readers will find it interesting, insightful, and sometimes surprising. It took me 50 years to write it, and it's a wonderful 2-volume set. In there, Billy talks about the Northern Neck counties. Back in 1656, they were Westmoreland, Northumberland, Rappahannock, which is an Indian name, and Lancaster. I'm going to base this history lesson on a publication in Richmond County, 1692 through 1992, a tricentennial portrait. It was written by Robert R. Hopper. Virginia State Highway sign, Richmond County, Virginia, area 204 square miles, was formed in 1692 from old Rappahannock County and named for the town of Richmond, Surrey, England. Stabbin Hall and Mount Airy are located in this county, and I added one more because I pass it on my road almost every day. That's Indian Banks. Louise E. Gray wrote in the foreword in June of 1992, priorities revealed the character of a people. The publication of this book as part of the Richmond County Tricentennial Observances attests to the fact that citizens place a high value on their rich history. In this county, which has been lost through in this county, much has been lost through indifference and ignorance. The preservation movement came late. This volume is a significant contribution to the preservation effort. I don't know who Louise is, but she must have been a little firecracker. In the book, they talk about Captain John Smith sailed a light barge into the Rappahannock River. He visited an Indian village at the Indian tribe at the village called Moradicon. The name applies to present-day Moradica Creek at Simonson, where the village stood. Indian Banks overlooks Moradica Creek. The journals of Captain John Smith on page 66, August 14, 1608, the barge sailed past the Potomac, rounded the Northern Neck, and proceeded up the Rappahannock. After about 30 miles, they stopped at the village of Moradicon, where they were greeted by an old friend, Moscow. Many sons and daughters were born to early settlers. Those children started other families. A Northern Neck known fact, be careful who you talk about, kin to each other. I'm gonna base this talk on chapter 3. Chapter 3 was the Wilderness Days 1651 through 1676. It puts a light on our ancestors' life in those early times. May 1650, Colonel Moore Fauntleroy granted patent for 5,300 acres of both sides of Farnham Creek, named Farnham Grant after his family home in England. Plantation was the first home of an Englishman in what became Richmond County. Site located head of Farnham Creek. We know Farnham Creek Road now as, we know that area now as Farnham Creek Road. They begged Charles I to cross the Atlantic, rule from Virginia as the king. Cornwall in 1645 defeated Charles I. Virginia shores were flooded with supporters of Charles I. Charles I ended up getting beheaded in 1649. January 1675, hold on a minute, my card's stuck together. September 1649, son Charles II granted his supporters a gift, the entire northern neck of Virginia. That's about 3 million acres. This entitled new owners to collect rents from settlers. A blow to settlers who paid their own way or served 6 years indentured servitude. Annual paying of quit rent continued until the American Revolution. There were troubles in Virginia Northern Neck. A Dutch fleet appeared in the Rappahannock. Naval engagement offshore Richmond County. Colonel Robert Conway, most of his crew was killed. Captain William Pierce ordered fort of earth and logs erected at head of Rappahannock Creek. We know that today as Catford Creek, and protect 20-mile radius from that area. Summer of 1674, Maryland Indians crossed the Potomac, started killing settlers. Settlers went into Maryland, killed Indian king and 10 warriors. I would like to have been there. But January 1675, Northern Indians went to war with the English. Rappahannock County, present day what we know as Port Royal, destroyed everything English down the river valley. Planter groups met for protection, asked Governor Berkeley to send a commissioned leader. Berkeley ordered, build a new fort head of Rappahannock River. I believe that would have been in the Fredericksburg area. February of 1676, ordered no more than 10 men meet in a group. This fueled the Indian attacks on small groups of settlers. By the time Berkeley sent a commissioned officer late May 1676, it was too late, too little, too late. Bacon's Rebellion did not take place in Richmond County, but 53 armed men joined Bacon's forces. July the 4th, 1676, at the Middle Peninsula, today that's Williamsburg. 100 years before the American Revolution on July the 4th of 1776. The rebellion fell apart in October of 1676. Nathaniel Bacon died of a fever. Many men were punished, hanged, banished, heavy fines, and their property taken away. The bloodiest and darkest times in Richmond County. For a historian, the greatest loss of 1676 was destruction of county courthouse and the records. Mystery remains, hands of Indians or clashes between Bacon and Berkeley. We came from a determined, brave people. Now I'll start with what y'all came to hear. How the book began, I think I just told y'all a while ago. I was alone after 42 years, after I lost Shannon. And I was trying to figure out what my next life was going to be like. In this creative writing class, I got a flyer in the mail for the fall semester classes at Rappahannock Community College. So I registered for it. Got an email almost instantly. A thank you email. Feel free to email instructor Sarah. Let her know what you're working on. Sincerely, Michelle. I had no idea. Except I had these memories and voices in my head. So I got a welcome RLL Creative Writing 2019 class email from Sarah Collins Honnenberger. Call me Sally. She goes on to say a few matters before Tuesday's class. This is on a weekend, I get this. Please note you have a short assignment over the weekend. My expertise is fiction. Non-creative, creative nonfiction and memoir are based on the truth. Truth has boundaries. You will not get much help from me. I never took the easy path. She tells us to memorize her 10 rules of writing fiction, which I wasn't going to write fiction, and the construction of strong stories, which was very helpful. Memorize them. So I'm thinking I'm in school again. But so I wondered what I was doing, but I needed this challenge in my life, and believe me, it was a challenge. Your class 1 writing project is an induction. You are working towards, on, hopefully in progress, or the idea, a book, a story with particular character. And what if? My head is busting with all that. I had been told for years, you should write a book. So I wrote back to Sally, and I said, I'm writing a memoir. And I said, I know, I'm not going to get any help. It's going to be in third person. The narrator has full access to all thoughts and experiences. Possible book title, The Hinson Voice of St. John Street. First sentence, I was born on the 4th of July, 1942, and I am not supposed to be here. Alice?
Yes.
Remember that? The class has started, and I realized I am writing my life story. And it hurts. I had to get other classmates to read my pages for me. Sally, the teacher, didn't like the way I wrote. She told me so. She told the whole class so. Classmates did. Often said it during critic sessions. Never read anything written with your style. Don't change your style. So the class is ended. I got an email from Jan Fast, invitation to her writing group. Ms. Cooper Alice offered the classmates to meet here at this library. And Sally said she wanted to be a part of the group. So Sally met with us. We were able to, I think, to meet twice. The next year, the pandemic, 2020 is the next year. This was 2019, 2020, we had the pandemic. I don't need to tell y'all what that was like. So I go on writing, and I go into the next year, which is 2021. Medical fears, unknowns, did not leave home for weeks, but I had a wonderful view of Lancaster Creek. Isolation, writing every day, sun up to sundown, never experienced writer's block. Memories flowed from my head to that typewriter, to that keyboard. Many days I forgot to even eat lunch. I'm printing new pages and reading them. Sometimes I would laugh. Other times I just sat there and cried. Some of you have read my book, and it's raw. It's real. My friend May is reading it for the third time. Hang on a minute, I got a page stuck together again. I was afraid of this. So I'm into the next year, which is 2022. If you add this up, it took me almost 5 years to get to this point. April, the manuscript was complete. Now, it's printed out on 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper. That's the way I did it. And I need to find a publisher. So the printed out, when it was printed out, it was 204 pages, 113,000 words. I contacted a local publisher in Warsaw area, Honey House Press. I met her in the Food Line parking lot. I provided her printed first 50 pages of the manuscript. This is the first woman or first person who read that many pages of my book. I had other people that wanted to read it, I wouldn't let them read it. As you probably figured out all right, I like to do things myself. But it's got me in a lot of trouble. Her feedback was enjoyed reading, confused by the third person. We set up a meeting. The next day she called me and canceled the meeting. It's now the end of April. No contact. I tried to call her on the phone. I emailed her. I never heard another word. It's like she disappeared. So I'm now getting an education in the publishing world. July, I'm a member of the Northern Neck, Virginia Historical Society. And Kathy suggested that I contact Northumberland Historical Press. Well, I didn't know who they were. I met Jan at the next Historical Society meeting, and we discussed whether she would want to publish my book. In August, she sent me a contract. First paragraph, ... Final product to meet publishing industry standard for grammar and punctuation as defined by the Chicago Manual of Style. What? I never heard that in class. I read that first paragraph for a week. I compared other books to see what that meant. I read Where Crawdads Sing. I read Faster Wiles. Have y'all read that one yet? It's not Chicago Manual Style by no means, I can tell you that. So, Chicago Manual Style, this is a cheat sheet. And right there is preparing a manuscript. That little page area right there is the only thing I was interested in. All right, but that's it. I got it off. So, I called Northumberland Historical Press. Do not like the contract first paragraph. This book needs to be written with Northern Neck grammar. Jan came right back at me. If you do not write this book as I ask, it will not have my name on it. My comment back was, I do not want one word changed. So that's how we started. Silence. Cross out the first paragraph. Cross out editing and proofing. Should go quickly. $300 for design and format. I signed the contract, mailed it back. I didn't mail any money. I need time to figure out this publishing business. Researched and found self-publishing on KDP, the right, W-R-I-T-E, way. That's the manual. When I told her I had it, she said, "Why'd you do that?" Anyway. It's written by J.N. Haskin. And what she says, which is very true, publishing isn't scary. Once you learn more about it, a business, frightening, and authors are kept in the dark. And there it is. Take control. I've been accused of that many times in my life. So I became the editor, the proofreader and the editor. I continued with my research, and I found a professor on YouTube teaching a class how to set up I call it CMOS, format document. And I did it. I thought I was going to really do this easy. I set up a template file for it, and I figured I could hit enter and it would go. No, it won't do that. The only way it would do it for me was do 10 pages at a time. Now that may be some other magic, but I never found it. So I did 10 pages at a time. I contacted teacher Sally. She was on vacation in Florida. She said, told her I needed her help. She said, "I'll contact you when I get back." So the end of August, she contacted me and I delivered Sally the printed manuscript, which hadn't been converted yet. A couple of weeks we met, worked on edits, rearranging, paring down my life story. She took out, I put in, she took out, I put in. Sally provided 3 pages of notes. I began to rewrite the manuscript in Chicago Manual of Style. It took months. The manuscript, next time I printed it out, it became 400 pages. As you know, how book, I didn't even. So, now we're into 2023. It's February. I contacted Northumberland Historical Press. Manuscript edited and revised per professional Sally Honenberger. Great. NPH agrees to get your book published. We agree on the hourly rate, because if you remember, I crossed out all that other stuff about a penny a word for editing and all that. So we had to agree on the hourly rate. Trusting each other. Months of email continued. Disagreements, text, picture captions, where to put the picture in the book. And the book's got a lot of pictures in it. But she was putting pictures in the wrong place, the wrong caption. It was, yes, man, it was kind of a disaster. All right, so months of emails continued. I finally called her one day. I didn't email her, I called her on the phone. I said, "Tell me, what is the problem?" She said, "I do not like your grammar." We continued to disagree. I'm not giving up. Then this email came one day. I got it, I probably have it in a frame somewhere. This is a good book. But I suspect it's her husband George read the book. I don't know. But George did do a review on the book. So we got into the next discussion. It's called book trim size. That book is not the trim size that I wanted, but it's all right. She immediately said it would make a wonderful coffee table book. I just published one for blank, blank, blank. Absolutely not. I want to see my book held, being read in airports, coffee shops all over the world. Twin brother Harvey, who I wish was here tonight, but he isn't, has said many times to me, you would not have had so much trouble in life had you not been so pig-headed. I looked that up just to make sure, but I knew what he was saying, but I looked it up. I said, hey, go on you. So then the day that I cherished, because a very emotional Harvey Lee called me. Harold, you are a genius. I cried. If you grew up with us, which you're gonna hear some stories, we're the most, twins are competitive probably, but we are over the top. I didn't write it in here, but one day I got so mad at him, I finally knocked it through the sheetrock wall. But, so, in May, Northumberland Historical Press wrote to me, need your approval. Final text and pictures before a proof book. Well, this is a good day. I immediately said approved, because I'm the guy that did all the editing. Which, it was harder than y'all, it wasn't that easy, because I would send her emails with what I edited, and I would get something back, and I'd say, what in the world is this? I mean, there was paragraphs completely in different places. Anyway, the first proof books were ordered from Barnes and Noble. Immediately we had shipping problems. So then they extradited, or whatever that word is. Anyway, it took weeks. And the book finally came by FedEx. Immediately, I did not like the plain copy. The cover was just gray with that same picture of those little kids right there on the front and that building. The rest of the book was gray. I told her I want the cover to pop. I got no help or comment offered. I finished editing my proof book, gave it back to her, contacted my son Tom, who's his master's degree in computer sciences. He works for Lockheed Martin, and stuff he can't tell me. He said, Dad, I can't tell you that. So anyway, I told him I need his help with the book covers, and I'm going to be using the sunrise, which is on the front of that book. That's the sunrise on Lancaster Creek. On the back of the book is sunset on Maradica Creek, which is right to the west, the east or west. I live on this peninsula, by the way, it's Simonson. So when John Smith came up to that Indian village at Simonson, my wife named our mailbox Maradica. So we were up many nights past midnight, because he worked every day, and he tried to do this when he got home. July the 1st, I got an email, the book covers with instructions to Northumberland Historical Press on how to do the lettering, which it's good now. Anyway, July the 24th, Jan came to my house and set the book up on Kindle Direct Publishing. The reason why people use Kindle Direct Publishing, you own the rights to your book. It's not like some publisher paying you up thousands of dollars and they own the book and do whatever they want with it. You own the book. So that sounded good to me. I wanted to own that book. So that was on July the 24th. On July the 25th at 12:25 a.m. in the morning, this email, I see it in the morning when I wake up. No phone, Kindle Direct Publishing. Your paperback is published. What a day. I immediately started getting Facebook comments from family and friends. I just ordered your book off Amazon.com. I didn't even have the book. All I had was the proof book. So the book, The Hinson Boys of St. John Street. I'll get it together. Warsaw is a one blinking traffic light town. When A.J. Hinson brought his wife Barbara 3 sons. Harold, Harvey, and Sammy home to familiar Novenet. Seen, felt World War II and General Patton's army, battlefields in Italy, France, Germany. Not going to work for another person, will be his own man. Ideas how to do that. Borrowed money from Brother Garnett and Father Harvey Alexander Sr. Purchased that old rundown general store on St. John Street. Fixed it up. Named his place Hinson's Lunch. Hang on a minute. I can't see what I'm reading. Now I messed the microphone up. It's good. All right. Hang on a minute. Maybe not. Okay. I'm lucky to have what I got. When we were doing our classes at Rappahannock Community College, Alice one day said that when she left class, she said, I went over to St. John Street, there's nothing there. And it's not. All of it was rasped down years ago and they built an Albemarle Electric Company. Anyway, I'm not sure what's going on now.
Oh,
Flip me up.
okay.
Maybe I'll take my glasses out.
Oh. Glasses are complicating it too.
I think so. All right, good, thanks. I think we're good.
No. Oh, lovely. Oh, gosh. Take everything off the start. Yes.
Okay.
This one.
Okay. Good?
Let's figure out.
Got this.
I know. Sorry.
Maybe I need to wipe my nose while y'all are doing that.
You want a handheld?
I can do that, sure. Believe our daddy made it through World War II with that dream in mind. Warsaw had another place to get a cold beer or sandwich, B&B Lunch. Hinson's Lunch opened in January 1946 with hot meals for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Daddy's steamed crabs, crab cake, soft shell, devil crab, hot dogs, lunch dinner plates with turkey, beef, mash, peas, beans, and gravy, sweet corn in season. Beer so cold it made your nose burn. It was packed every Wednesday night on family night. Family with kids packed that place. My daddy ran a tight joint. If you knew some of the old timers. Warsaw was a magic place to grow up. No traffic jams. Everyone knew each other, close family and friends. Ride our bikes on streets everywhere. Meet at the drugstore, soda fountain. Try not to get caught reading the magazines. Dick Tracy talked to his watch. Warsaw Theater on Saturday matinee was packed with all the kids. Flash Gordon took off in his ship, landed back on the ground. TV was black and white, walked across the room to turn it off and on. To tune the dial, 3 channels. We were in Wonderland. 1950 radio station, WNNT, sunrise to sunset. It was an AM station. Our bedroom was on the 2nd floor. This is where I go to the book. Playing on the Sanders front step one day, we were seeing which one of us could jump to the end of the screen porch. Everything was challenged, no matter what. I'm sure that I got pushed, most likely by Harvey Lee. Harvey did not like to lose. We were very competitive. Neither one liked to lose to the other. Harold hit his head on the porch, flowing wood corner just above the right eye, opened a gash over the eye socket. Dazed, crying, bleeding. Aunt Dolly was helping us, our mother, in the lunchroom. That's Diane's mother. She heard the yelling, came to us. "Stop running, Harry." Aunt Dolly called Harold Harry. She was the only sibling that did. "You are making the bleeding worse. I need to take you to Dr. Pearson." I stopped running. Harry trusted Aunt Dolly. Dr. Pearson's office had that sterile smell. Was located at the family home on the left going west out of Warsaw. "Let me look at that, son," as Dr. Pearson took my head in his hands. "This is going to need some stitches." Out of that chair I bolt, out the door running, do not know where. Aunt Dolly is running behind me. "Stop running, Harry. If you stop, I will not let Dr. Pearson do any stitches." I stop and go to Aunt Dolly's arms. She gives me a hug. We walk back into Dr. Pearson's office. Doctor is waiting at the chair with a stainless steel tray. "That really needs some stitches." I remained in the chair this time. "Dr. Pearson, I promised Harry that I would not let you give him any stitches. You will have to do something else, Dr. Pearson." That's Aunt Dolly. We left Dr. Pearson's office with a large bandage over the right eye, no stitches. Harvey Lee and Harold loved Aunt Dolly. She treated us like we were her children. Life was good. Harvey Lee and Harold started the first grade in the fall of 1948. Sammy was 4 in August. That first grade class had 36 kids. We graduated with 17 of them. Like brothers and sisters, we were. The first grade teacher was Mrs. Lewis. Her daughter was Dixie Lee. She was also in the class. Very strict person was Mrs. Lewis. Sometimes she would even spank Dixie Lee in front of the class, just for effect. I think one day Mrs. Lewis left the classroom. All his classmates begun, hang on a minute. To cheer me on. Had to be a good idea, the twin getting all the attention in the moment. Hey Harold, get up on the table and dance for us. Everyone is screaming, I am doing my happy dance. No thought that Mrs. Lewis would be coming back. She did and was not happy. Come to think of it, do not ever remember seeing the woman smile. Mrs. Lewis grabbed the dancer's arm, pulled me off the table, started dragging me out of the first and second grades building and down the sidewalk. As teacher was doing this, Harvey Lee was kicking her shins on the way to the steps of the next building. If you did something to one twin, you had to deal with the other. Demanded Harvey get back to class. Mrs. Lewis continued to drag me up the steps and into the building, pushes me into a chair, principal's office. You sit there until Mr. Perkins comes. He is going to take care of you. I peed my pants. Hey, Hinson, what are you doing in here? It was that first cousin, Lyle Hinson, poking his head through the office doorway. I am waiting for Mr. Perkins to come, trying to hide my pants already. You get out of here, boy. Right now, go home, tell Uncle H.A. about this. I still remember standing by Daddy's side when he phoned the school for Mr. Perkins. If you lay one GD finger on my boy, I am coming to that school to drag your skinny, you know what, up and down those old stained floors. Then I got the belt whipping. Knew it was coming. Those memories about the belt whippings. We knew when one was coming, was often. On Sunday, H.A. and Barbara's only day to rest. The family bedroom was on the top floor of the lunchroom. Hardwood board flooring without any carpet or other cover. You could see through the board cracks at the rooms below. I am sure that Harvey Lee came up with the plan. Let's go down to the lunchroom, get some stuff to eat. It was not long before Daddy found us on stools at the counter drinking soft drinks, eating nabs and candy bars. Harvey Lee hears him coming first at the swinging door for the lunchroom kitchen. Harvey Lee runs to hide in the men's room located left of the bar. What did I tell you about coming into the lunchroom? He is mad and one of us is going to pay. Daddy grabs me by the arm, his white belt in the other. I got the beating. Daddy was satisfied. One time I was thinking faster than Harvey Lee, which wasn't very often, who had run and made it to the bathroom. I looked up at my father. Daddy, why did you always beat me? He looked down at me, perhaps realizes, who has caught? Where is Harvey? I pointed at the bathroom door. Daddy let go of my arm and headed for the bathroom located in the hall. There he found Harvey Lee with his pants down, thinking, oh, you know what? Harvey Lee got a good one that day. All right. I've never done this before. This is maybe the last time I try to do this. Have had friends all tell personal stories about H.A. Hinson, the times that Daddy would bring their own father home when he had too much. They never forgot that kindness. Your daddy was a good man. We just did not know it then. We remember the shared bedroom on the second floor of the lunchroom. Most likely the attic of that old store building. Cold, drafty, dimly lit. The laughter, jukebox music, and smells from the kitchen room below. The dark staircase going up, bare wood floors, no heat that we remember. Times being told by our Aunt Dolly, keep your feet under the blanket or the rats might bite off your toes. Always kept the blanket tight, fighting over who had the most of it. Harvey Lee got bored on one night, being in that bedroom, went down that staircase in the dark from the upstairs bedroom, looking out for any rats. On the step was Daddy's bottle of Miller High Life. He always kept his beer there, would not drink it up front. Harvey Lee convinced me to see what was so special in that bottle. Shoo! First swallow did not taste that good. Second one a little better. Now we are in trouble again. Harvey Lee came up with a plan. I did not think that fast, and I didn't. Let us add some water to the bottle. Daddy will not know that we drank in it. We add water to the bottle. Problem was, we could not remember how much beer was in the bottle before drinking it. Wrong. I still remember that belt weapon. Bear with me. We're gonna be in trouble if I mix these cards up. Daddy gone, do not know why. Hinson's lunch now managed by H.A.'s cousin Norris S. and wife Della. They live above Hinson's lunch in the attic space we used to be as a family. They have a son, Wayne and Gentry Ann. Gentry is our age, Wayne is Sammy's age. We are very happy to be with them, having playmates right in the same house. Our life is different. We see the pain on our mother. This just going to be the beginning of change. We are not aware of how sick our brother was. Sammy did not play outside with us any longer. He did not leave that bedroom. Sammy was very ill. Sammy passes. February, a cruel, unforgiving month without good memories in my mind. February the 5th, 1951. We are suddenly awakened from sleep early in the morning. Our mother was screaming. We had never heard before. Where is she? We found her sitting at the kitchen table trying to hold the limp body of Brother Sammy in her frail arms. Norris, Della, Gentry, and Wayne came down to the kitchen from upstairs. They had heard Mama. There are not many memories for me after this night. Where is Mother? We are at Aunt Dolly, Uncle Bob, Bobby, Diane at their home. What happened to our mother? Where is she? Did Mama be gone ever come up in conversation? Did we ask? No one talked about it. The home is in the community of Indian Field. Outskirts of Warsaw, about 2 miles, Indian Field dates to 1608 with a village, a mill pond near it. Now the first house in development in Richland County, with its own water supply provided by the builder. How long were we living there? Had to be winter, 1951, and spring, 1952. No memory of going to school. Must have, probably rode on the school bus. It is a terrible thing not to remember these things. Little man in head, a blessing, Harold. Okay, what was that? Have some memory flashes on occasion, mostly funny ones. Edith, our Aunt Dolly, had just commanded us the breakfast dish was white paste. We named it. Aunt Dolly's attempt to making milk crate. Little man in head, how you made glue. We referred to Aunt Dolly as the little rooster, never to her face. Dolly had that way of getting her point across. There was a bedroom in the attic. Kids learned to make things adapt. Something we remembered. Uncle Bob always had to have mashed potatoes with every dinner. If it was cabbage, must be served with coleslaw. All right, bear with me again. Mother is back, attic apartment, from where we never knew. Do not remember any mention of where she had been. We think that our mother had a nervous breakdown, something not talked about. Mama started life over again. We have moved, living in a small converted attic of the family home, our schoolmate Barbara Jean. The attic space has a small kitchen, living room, bedroom, open space down the center of the slanted ceilings. Must walk in the middle of the rooms, furniture up against the knee walls. There was one bed which we three slept in. No room for the cot. The home's single bathroom on the lower level was shared by a landlord's family, mother, father, Barbara, a classmate. The married daughter, husband, and 2 grandkids came to visit, and it seemed like every day. Bathroom always busy. When the piss call came, we learned how to sneak quietly down the staircase, open the door, peek, hope nobody sees you, exit the front door to the bushes. Sometimes to the back shed, always mindful not to let Mrs. B next door catch you. Our mother was in the survival mode. Mr. and Mrs. Smith treated us like we were their kids. Fun times learning how to play gin rummy. Mr. Smith was good. Food, hugs. Mrs. Smith was a wonderful cook. She and her sister cooked at the school cafeteria. They looked out for us when coming through the lunch line. All the food was special. Still remember the spoon bread and fish sticks on Fridays, our favorite day. Our mother started working as a telephone operator. She worked the day shift most of the time so that she could be at home with us at night. If she had to pull it late night, she would take us. We stayed in the operator's break room, did homework, slept on the sofa. There were many of those nights. Our pocket money was from soda bottles picked up on the town streets and our quarter-a-week allowance. Pine Street was the favorite place for the locals to have a snort out of the brown bag. bottle backed up with a bottle of Coke. The Coke bottle got tossed out of the window into the tree line. One time we found a bottle with 2 rolled up bills in it, dollar bills, in the neck of the bottle. Someone was looking out for us. We took the bottles to Ike Hall's general store, 2 cents for each bottle. Used the money to fill a small brown bag with penny candy. Some candy was 2 pieces for a cent. Squirrel nut zippers, Murray Janes, Tootsie Rolls, Jawbreakers, Sugar Daddy. Self-serve yourself out of the glass jars, each piece taken from the jar carefully observed. Dumped out of the bag, then recounted by the store clerk. The next place we moved was on Belleville Lane. This was the year of Hurricane Hazel. We had moved to a small house just off Main Street, connecting the Hamilton Boulevard, the street named for Belleville Mansion, containing a large tract of farmland located on the dirt road, Hamilton Boulevard. I better watch my time. Yeah, okay. I gotta quit doing what I'm doing. There was a Southern State store on St. John Street. It was separated by an alley to Hinson's lunch building. The older guys that we played around with all the time, Billy M. and J.A.C., you all probably know who they are, introduced us to the fun of sneaking into the back room where the feed bags were stacked. We had a game chasing each other over the top of the bags from the grain, bags full of grain stacked up close to the ceiling. Sometimes the bag would fall in the floor and bust open. Not to the liking of Mr. B. Mr. B would check the chicken eggs under a lamp. He allowed us to watch if you agree not to run over the feed bags again. What are you looking for, Mr. B? Making sure that the egg is good. What is a bad egg? That would be one that has an eyeball. What? Sometimes a whole chick will be in there. How does that happen? Well, boys, that happens when the rooster gets to the hen. Sex education class. Those of us that grew up in Warsaw remember Sam's barber shop. One time Mother sent me back to Sam. I asked her what was wrong. She said, he only cut one side of your head. Sam loved telling hunting dog stories, bird dogs, and he would lose his place where he was. All right, bear with me, please. I got to learn how to do Shelley's going to help me, I hope, how to do a proper presentation with a PowerPoint. We moved again. Well, we're still on Belleville Lane. Warfield, who was a wonderful man that came into our life, our mother started dating him, and he became a father to us. He taught us how to play baseball which became an obsession with my brother and I. I'm gonna skip along, Alice, I promise.
Well, they'll have to read it by buying the book.
Well, that's true. I didn't mean to read this much out of the book. But we turned 15 in July 1957, legal age for a driver's license. Months leading up to this day, constantly reminding Mama she would not hear of it. No. Why? Because I said so. One morning, Aunt Dolly, little rooster, decided that she was going to take us for the driver's license in her 55 Chevy. Came by the house and picked us up. Mama was at work. We took the written and driving test, passed. Aunt Dolly was asked to sign and then told she could not. Get them to call their mother. I think it was me that called her. But when I did, I said, we passed the driver's license test this morning. You did what? I did not know you were taking the test. Who took you? Aunt Dolly. Now we need a parent's signature. I am not signing it. After I paused, I guess we need to call Daddy. First time we tried that one. Put Dolly on the phone. All right. I'll try to get through this one. All right. Support check. Each Saturday morning, one of us went to Hinson's lunch to pick up the support check. Our memory of this still baffles to this day. Why did we have to go get the check? Many times this turned into an argument. I did it last week. You go. Then the tussle would begin, ending with the one of us going, next week, all over again, you, not me. We always tried to go early in the morning. Only one person would be sitting at the counter with his first beer, 8 a.m. He was always at the counter to the left, on the last stool next to the hallway that led to the men's bathroom. That bathroom smells cigarette smoke and piss. We go in through the front door, continue past the tables, chairs, booths to the right of the counter. Daddy was always standing there on the serving side of the counter. Guess he got used to Harvey and me coming 8 o'clock sharp. When you arrived at the counter and stood behind a stool, he would spin, push no sale lever on that old manual cash register, reach in, turn back around with the check in hand, made out to Barbara Hinson, $25. No words were ever exchanged. We just took the check from our father's hand, turned, walked back out the door. Son, would you like some candy? How about a pack of nabs? Bag of peanuts, Coke. So proud of you and Harvey for graduating high school. How about a few bucks? What are your plans? Hey, why not come working for me? Words we would love to have heard, not spoken. July the 9th, 1960, 8 o'clock, early Saturday morning. We turned 18 on the 4th of July. That was a Monday. After the weekly discussion who must go get the check, I gave in, walked down St. John's Street sidewalk, up the curb steps, entered the lunchroom. Mr. B is sitting in his usual spot having a meal. Our father just standing there. Little man in my head. WTF. He has not moved as I continued to the counter. And stand behind a stool, waiting. Our father starts talking. I'm sorry. Okay, all right. Our father starts talking. What the H do you want? Little man in head. Oh, shit. You boys have turned 18. Have you not? You are not going to get another GD cent. I turned and walked quickly out of the lunchroom, tears in my eyes. Do not recall what I said to Mama when I went back home without the check. Mama uttered something in Italian. My mother was Italian, and she had to speak Italian when they were siblings, or her Italian father would smack them. So my mother knew a few words. So, and the memory of that day stayed with me many years, more years than I wanted to remember. That is page 80. I wrote some notes that if I can find them here in my our stepfather, who was like a father to us, called us Mama's little darlings. He knew what we were up to all the time. The Hinson twins were inseparable up to age 18. Right brain, left brain, the artist, the engineer. Our story changes after page 80. My story begins on page 81, when I went in the United States Air Force. As I always say, it's in the book. Writing my story was therapeutic, perhaps the help I never asked for. I would like to share some comments that I've gotten. I can't tell you all of them because everywhere I go, somebody will come up to me and tell me how much they like the book. And that's good. But these were the first email I received after the book was published was from this co-worker and friend of mine, Denton Devers. I took an early separation from Philip Morris in June the 1st, 1998. And I saw Denton probably a month or two before that. Ben D was right. Last Saturday I received your book and was I surprised. I can still read and have enjoyed every minute of reading. Knowing you from work and reading this book has made me see how real of a good guy you are. Ups, downs, good times and bad. You always had the drive to do better and make things right. I have laughed, sometimes almost cried, at the childhood you and your brother had. That's priceless. Life is not always fair, and you have had more than your share of unfairness. But in the end, you remain Harold Hinson, a man I was lucky enough to have met and share our friendship. Thank you, Harold. I got another email from them. Harold, I have thoroughly enjoyed reading your book and can't wait for the next one. I'm on my third reading, hoping that I have missed something on the first two. You are what I called a real engineer and never left a job until it was working as Harold advertised. I really enjoyed working with your son because he certainly followed in Dad's footsteps. It was very sad to hear of his passing. Hope you are feeling better, and as always, thanks for the ride. Chuck Schreiner, who we grew up with, I finished mine and loved it. It occurred to me that you can be around someone most of your life and think you know what their life is like, but you have no idea. Marty Bradshaw, got my book today. Just proud of you both and how you have done so well in life. Joanna Hanks, Harold, reading your book was like a trip back in time. Some very familiar and some only faintly familiar. People and places. There was much I knew nothing about, but all of it is very interesting. I just mailed the book to Jim's wife, Mary. You and Shannon were all friends in Simonson. Well done, Harold. Catherine E. Dorothy Wheelers. I am enjoying reading your book. Your style of writing just flows in my mind. I finished your book last night. It was a good read. A few things were amazing to me. In your early days of your adult life, you had two unfortunate marriages. You took those two painful parts of your life in your stride with great strength. Then you took a few years single, and you made peace with that. You protected your heart, but you did not get better. Then when you met Shannon, it was love at first sight. She made a subtle move on you, and you were receptive. You were inseparable from that point on. I am happy that you had that type of love in your life. It appears that you were gifted intelligently. You and my late husband, Jack, were both engineers at Philip Morris. I applaud your hard work of writing a really good book. It broadened my mind. Best wishes for success with your book as well as in your life. Love from your classmate, Murray Ogle. Ordered and read. What a story. I have to ask John Taylor about the jail incident. He'll probably say it was J.A. did it, but John, got blamed. John lives in California now, but we have a reunion in Whitestone every summer. Most years J.A. came and he and John traded stories about who got wrongly blamed. I'm sure there were many stories they didn't share with us, and it's probably just as well. Thank you, Harold, for sharing your story. Stay well and happy for the rest of your journey. In this email from Andy Ball. Remember Andy? We knew him as Andy Ball. I looked him up. Oh, you found him. I found your book fascinating and very moving. You've written a memoir, I can't say that word, which would make a terrific movie. P.S. I've written a review on Amazon.
Oh, great.
So, I find the Amazon review, Dr. L. Andrew Ball. 5 out of 5 stars. Remarkable book. Harold Hinson has written a remarkable book in a style completely devoid of literary artifice. He tells the heartfelt and heart-wrenching story of a life spent as an identical twin in Virginia's Melbourne Neck. Part love story, part murder mystery. This is much more than a straightforward autograph. It paints a vivid picture of life in small-town America over the past 70 years, and it is a testament to strength and weaknesses of the human spirit. Fierce red pen. That's Sally. A teacher. 4 out of 5 stars, straight from the heart. The early loss of a brother divides this family and creates havoc in their faith that life will be fair. Through all the trials and tribulations, the Hinson boys back each other up. More tough life lessons test that bind, but the Hinsons pull together. The author, not a natural writer. She got that in. Work hard to tell his story, and then that evoked the hard scramble life of rural Virginia. Much here to admire. In the bulleted scenes and strong emotions in the face of tough decisions. Universal themes celebrate family and hard work. Dominic Elliott, 5 out of 5 stars to Hinson boys. A great read. of the times, challenges, and successes of growing up in a small country town. For those from this era, it will bring back memories of growing up then. It was a small community, and cousins and friends helped each other whenever needed. D.B. Upton, 5 out of 5 stars. Grab a blanket, cup of coffee, and settle in for an intriguing read. This book takes you on a journey of a life which will enthrall you with its ups, downs, hardships, headaches, and loves. From beginning to end, the author's style is to engage, enlighten, make you laugh, make you cry. You do not want to put it down until the final page is read. Kudos to Harold Hinson for sharing his life with us. Thank you, Diane. Amy Capitano. This is one of my best friends growing up. Sister. And I didn't know who she was because of that name. Enjoyed reading about my hometown. George, who I suspect is Jane's husband. 5 out of 5 stars. Great people would love to read this book. Harold Burnley Jr. Excellent, 5 out of 5 stars. Excellent scholarship. Fun autobiographical read that many will warmly relate to. Janet, the Hinson boys book. I liked everything about the book. A great book and a fast read. I've heard that several times. So, so I went and looked to see what devoid of literary artifice is, because I didn't know what it was. It's a clever trick or something intended to deceive. Historical fiction, I went back and forth with my publisher. No fun in historical. What are we going to call this book? She kept saying, let Amazon decide what to call it. I didn't do that. So I called it historical fiction. I have an identical twin brother who has, I have memories, he has memories, his memories are not like my memories. So he's, historical fiction is fiction that takes place in the past, some remembered from lived experiences. So I said that perfectly fits. My twin brother, Harvey Lee, has other memories of the events written, has chosen not to include any words to my book, but instead going to write his book and tell the rest of the story. Egg white and egg yolk has spent a life in competition. Some things will never change. I wished him well, encouraging him, giving advice, knowing well Harvey Lee's book may not happen. For those that want me to write another book, I start with a journal, and I'm working in a journal right now. The next book is going to be called Radicon, Memories in Photography and Stories. Of all, I can't off the top of my head remember, but there is another book, believe me, that is a rough manuscript. It's existing on my desk upstairs. It's the stuff that Sally convinced me to take out of the book, and some stuff that I needed to take out of the book. It was, like I said, I'm a little raw. It's going to be called The Hinson Boys of St. John Street, 2nd edition, Untold Memories. Anybody got any questions? I'll try to answer. Yes.
Do you remember how much that lunch plate was with the mashed potatoes?
I think it was $1.50. It's in the book. My father was a wonderful cook. But he had some people working in the kitchen, but he was a wonderful cook. And his steamed crabs, people would call from Richmond, and my father would answer the phone, and they said, H.A., we want 2 dozen crabs. And Daddy would say, I'm closing at midnight. And, but I'll put 2 dozen on the front stoop, you put the money under the rock. And he said he never went out there and picked that rock up, that the money wasn't under it. So people would drive all the way from Richmond to get his crabs. And he made them hot, because I would say for every 2 crabs you ate, you had to drink a beer. And the beer was so cold, it seriously made your nose burn.
Well, thank you, Harold. Thank you so much. And like I said, we've got the hardcover and the soft cover here for you.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Just do your regular closing, but don't lock the front door because they'll shut the alarm, okay? Everything else you would do.
Yeah.
Be in here. We gotta come out the back, yeah. And they're coming out, so we'll take care of the front door. No problem, okay? All right, yeah, you're good, yeah.